This is Oxnard, one of the Channel Islands. It's a fulcrum between the other islands and the ports further inland. The ferry stops here, coming and going from Anacolpa, Catalina, and the rest. Mostly quick stops, sometimes a photo or two snapped from the lookout, sometimes to repair a leaky pipe. This is where the region's fresh water is filtered and stored. Rainwater from the roof flows into the tanks where it's purified and eventually pumped to the other islands. Groundwater is treated here too. The water tanks are distributed among containers that hold the pipes, filters, and pumps required to treat and distribute the water. Everything is suspended, the tanks lifted as high as possible to separate them from the forces of the surrounding salt water, which might contaminate the supply. Inside, the tanks are accessed from below for repairs and upgrades. There's always something to be done. The nature of water is to erode, to stain, to push, to leak. The tanks are arranged to allow gravity to move the water from the collection tank through its series of filters and treatments, and then to a holding tank until it's pumped to someone's kitchen or shower or garden. That's where the heavy machinery comes in. This is Oxnard, a hub for local travel. In the landscape of small, disconnected landmasses, travel by foot is not always possible. The ferry terminal accommodates various methods of travel. The most convenient mode of local transportation is by small boats like kayaks that can maneuver tight places and are ideal for the small stretches of water that must be crossed. To catch a ferry, simply buy a ticket inside and head to the departures deck. If you're not going all the way to Santa Monica, though, there are plenty of kayaks. There is water on all sides here, in the filtration tanks above, the ocean water surrounding the terminal, in the fish tanks and fog and running through the walls. We like to think that we can control and shape it, but that's not always true. This is Oxnard, a self-sustaining ecosystem. Food for the surrounding area is produced here. Oysters, clams, seaweed. Energy-efficient local food sources are produced in a vertical farming system housed to the northeast of the ferry terminal, along with a series of aquaponic crops, mostly fruits and vegetables. This system does not require land. The crops are watered by a nutrient-rich mist that feeds and waters the plants. A few larger crops, like corn, are grown outdoors. Both these and the aquaponic crops are naturally fertilized with nitrates produced by a series of fish tanks. On weekends, many commuters choose to take a detour through the gardens or wetlands before passing over the bridge. ferry terminal is always busy, full of commuters looking to avoid highway traffic going to and from Los Angeles, as well as locals and tourists alike going to visit the Channel Islands. Inside, travelers find themselves underneath a maze of suspended tanks holding clear, fresh water and a series of filters and pumps. The system is suspended, the tanks lifted as high as possible to allow foot traffic underneath and to filter light into public spaces. The bellies of the tanks suggest zones of space underneath, marking loose divisions between ticketing, arrival, departure, and commercial zones. This is the region's transit hub. Travelers come and go, but it remains a home base for many. Upon arriving at the ferry terminal, travelers may exit to explore the wetlands or go swimming. Commuters might pass directly over the bridge or go to the parking lot to go home. Many others do not come for the ferry, but simply to buy local produce or go fishing. For now, they believe they own this place. This is Oxnard.